The wilds of Hyrule. I knew these fields like the back of my hand, and all the monsters within them knew me, feared me. Those who didn't had only heard whispers from stories of wiser creatures who knew to hide when they saw the sight of my blade. For these wilds needed a hero, and it would be a century before one arrived. From village to village, the hero rode on his metallic steed, relishing the victory of a battle well fought. The humble village folk bursting out of their quaint homes.
Link.
Yes, perfect, that's the idea. Link, they shout.
Link.
They shout it again, the name nearly deafened only by the sounds of rapturous applause.
Link.
Yes, Link. Now why not be a little more original this time?
Link! Snap out of this little fantasy of yours before I teleport you and that bike into the nearest Keys Cavern.
Ah! Princess, the novelty of riding a vehicle with only one seat is that it doesn't allow for backseat drivers.
I did you a great service in bringing both you and that bike back from the Mushroom Kingdom in one piece.
Both? One piece? Yes, I vividly remember touching back down and looking around to see where the Master Cycle had landed before seeing it fall to the earth in one piece, down in the distance, and then another piece fell down, then another, and another. Not to say that I'm not thankful for you prioritizing my body over the bike, it's just, well, it was such a spiffy bike.
Alright! Give me some credit. I'd only just learned to send you long distance. Forgive me for having difficulty bringing back such a heavy metal machine perfectly intact. But hey, at least I made some much needed modifications to it. Don't you think the updated body is a little closer to traditional Sheikah culture?
Yes, I suppose it's got a bit more Hylian flair to it, though thankfully Peach's original engine and mechanics survived the fall. Don't think there was much you could have improved on that, even an expert such as yourself, Zelda.
Oh, yes. Yeah, shouldn't we consider ourselves lucky to have the genius of Princess Peach still operating within our kingdom?
Indeed, we should.
Well, Link, the nature of my call is an update on pressing matters within the lands that need attending to. As they say, time waits for no hero. Well, I suppose it waited 100 years for you, but that's exactly how we got into so many messes, which is why we need to clean them up now.
Yes, we've all got a lot of work to catch up on to balance out all that happened while I was in stasis for a century. Never get tired of having that brought up.
Well, you'll be happy to hear it's a pretty easy day for hero work. It's a standard affair, giant monster out in the wasteland desert. So far, no village is terrorized, but some of the Gerudo soldiers on lookout have made note of disturbances, so I don't know. Go out there and smash its guts, or bonk it on the head, or whatever gets you riled up when you go face a big creature.
My princess! The only thing I need to get riled up about facing a large beastie is knowing that a community will soon be rid of the creature plaguing them at my sword-steadied hand. What kind of monster are we talking about here? A goblin?
Let me see the report. A Molduga? Molduga. I hope I said that right.
Molduga? Why, I hardly know her. Just a hero joke. Is there any more description? I don't entirely know if I've actually fought this creature before.
All I've read is that it's big, foul-tempered, and lurks within the hot sands of the desert, waiting to strike with its ferocious appetite. Perhaps you could bring it a sandwich. Oh, goodness me. I'm giving myself a royal case of the giggles.
Zelda, really now? This is serious. Molduga. Odd. A century ago I made a habit to explore every inch of those wastelands, but have I really never faced a... But I must have. Yet there's no memory.
Well, you can remember whatever it is on the way to the desert. I'll teleport you there now. And Don't give me that look. You can ride on your bike when there isn't a giant monster that needs immediate extermination.
The heat is killing me.
Oh, don't be so dramatic.
No, I mean, this heat is literally killing me. Or do you want to switch places so you can fight a monster in the hot desert, while I provide the audio commentary from the comfy chair of the castle?
Oh, quick! Try what you did a century ago and eat some of that iced meat. That should keep your body in flux for a few minutes at least.
Ugh. I had hoped technology had come a little further now, so I wouldn't have to resort to that. Speaking of technology, I don't suppose you could invent a boot that's 100% impenetrable to sand getting in while walking through the desert.
I'll see what I can come up with, if it means I don't have to hear a monologue about how much our hero hates sand.
I love what they've done with the place. The whole sand theme is a bit much, though. Remind me to bring a broom and dustpan next time I come out here. This is what we call a real fixer-upper.
Quiet, Link!
Oh, come now. That joke wasn't that bad.
No, something doesn't feel right.
Sweet goddess of Hylia above!
That must be the creature, Link. Quick, attack!
I wasn't expecting. What should I arrows? Yes. Where is it? How do you attack something you can't see?
Link, you have to get to higher ground. It's not safe out there in the sand.
No, this has happened before.
Oh, Link, for pity's sake, get out of there. Get to high ground, Link, please.
Let me tell you something about... Let me tell you something about...
Zelda, I am afraid.
Link!
Let me tell you something about... failure.
Am I?
Oh, Link. Oh, Link, you're all right. It's been hours. I haven't taken my eyes off you this entire time, but I've been so scared.
Is this?
The Great Fairy Fountain, yes. I knew there was one nearby, so I teleported you here so the Great Fairy could heal you. If I had waited even another second, you would have... For a second time, I would have had to watch you.
I'm fine.
Link.
No, I'm not fine. I failed. I didn't even get a scratch on that beast. Not one nick. If it hadn't been for you watching over me, Hyrule's champion would have been wiped out from society. Again. Might as well start a trend for myself.
You can't be so hard on yourself.
Can't I? What is my sole purpose if not to protect the people of these lands? And you. If I can't do that anymore, what purpose do I serve but to take up space and stand for something I can no longer follow through on?
Link, everyone has their missteps. You can't let one defeat cancel out the several heroics you've accomplished each day before now.
But my missteps mean people continue to get hurt. Evil continues to go unchallenged. I can't afford to have missteps. I knew that much when you chose me as your champion. What's worse, it's happened before. A century ago, all that time ago. This exact defeat. I know it. And yet I can't remember it. Just bits and scraps and pieces that don't add up to anything useful.
Well, there's a lot of memories you haven't tapped into from your previous life. 100 years in a tank is a long time to go without using your brain. Actually, it would explain some of your recent decision-making.
Really? Now?
I'm sorry. It's just... Well, there's something to be said for that, isn't there? There's no doubt that your bravery and noble heart came out just as strong as they were 100 years ago, but the mind is a tricky thing. There's complexities there. Emotions, thoughts, memories that have long since gone dormant as you verged between life and death for years on end. The process we used to keep you alive was a last-ditch effort for a reason.
Huh. So here I am, still paying the consequences for my biggest failure a century ago. For the first time, I don't know how to proceed. I can't go back to the creature's lair without knowing how to approach it from battle tactics. What's worse, as long as this buried memory haunts me, I fear it'll cause me to lock up again if I dare try. We need to find a way to trigger that memory. There was a voice. There's something, someone, buried within it who holds the key to this. But how do you just unlock a memory that's been locked away for a lifetime?
Perhaps you could ask someone who has enough memories of their own to carry through several lifetimes.
Yes, Kilton!
The monster guy? No, Link, not Kilton. How hard did you hit your head out there?
It was wise of you to bring Link to me after our hero has clearly dealt with some personal turmoil and a heavy beating.
Thanks for that. Wounds are still fresh, by the way, so I just love that everyone keeps bringing it up.
It doesn't make any sense, Impa. Link claims he remembers a previous incident like this, but he doesn't remember it. How can that be?
It makes perfect sense. Memories are complicated things, and they resurface in complicated ways.
But why is this one giving me so much trouble? When I came out of the tank, it only took a matter of days to remember Zelda, and my father, and Mipha.
Those were memories of positive experiences. Memories your mind instinctively want to latch onto, as it's our happy memories that get us through our darkest hours. But I can read your mental anguish right now. And this troubling remembrance you speak of does indeed exist. But it's buried down deep, lashing out against its chains, wanting desperately to crawl to the surface of your mind. But this is no easy task. For you see, Link, 100 years ago, you made an effort to repress this memory the moment it took place, and many others, I'm sure. Your mind is at war with itself to both meet your demand in remembering this moment while honoring the request from your previous life to lock it away entirely. Only a specific circumstance can trigger its release. What this circumstance is, I cannot say.
Well, if I try to forget it, perhaps it's impossible. It's like Zelda said before, 100 years is a long time to go without thinking.
Difficult, yes. Impossible? No. We cannot permanently rid ourselves of our memories. Every second of every day we've lived exists within us, but our mental capabilities do not allow us to so readily access them. Why, even the first days of our very life are floating around there somewhere, long since dusty and forgotten.
Well, who would want to remember being a baby? The lack of proper attire, consuming foods of veritable mush, communicating through various goos and gars. It's a good thing none could possibly remember that. The embarrassment.
Speak for yourself. Babyhood. Such a simpler time.
Link, you know I have the utmost faith in your wits and tactical ability, but we have to be realistic. Impa's had centuries to train in enhancing her mental prowess, and you're not quite there yet.
It's like Rivali always used to tell me. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but that never stopped you. Was he making fun of me?
I don't think simply focusing is going to be enough to unlock that memory. Actually, I have been studying cranial surgical procedures lately, purely for recreation, of course. I actually unearthed one of the original devices used by Sheik healers for advanced brain examinations. Why don't you come by the castle and we can break it in?
Well, tempting as that sounds, I don't think your services are quite covered by my insurance network.
You don't even have...
Perhaps we explore what my options are in terms of alternative medicine. Is it working yet?
It takes time, Link.
It's been time. See me standing here while time is timing?
I once came here myself in a time of need, and 20 seconds is hardly enough time to soak in the tranquility of this sacred pool. It doesn't help that you're so tense and unable to clear your mind.
Clear my... So, just to get this straight, we're going to remember my memory that's buried deeply by not having any thoughts whatsoever. Oh, that makes sense.
Yes? To be honest, I don't know, but those who meditate always talk about clearing their minds, so there's gotta be something to that, right?
Wait a second, I remember!
What? That's marvelous, Link! I can't believe that worked.
Yes, I remember being here with you. That night so many years ago, that night that you attempted to reconnect with Hylia's powers. I remember it didn't work.
Oh, right. That's unfortunate.
Unfortunate? What's unfortunate is me wasting my time coming out here on your suggestion.
Well, you're the one who wanted to try alternative healing. Impa said this wouldn't be easy. Sorry, standing in water for 2 minutes proved to be too challenging. I'm sure we'll have much better success with acupuncture.
Oh, there's a grand idea. I've only spent years of my life stabbing things with a sword. Let's give someone else a chance to stab hundreds of teeny tiny swords into me. Every second that I'm not spending in attempts to right my wrong is a second that calls my integrity into question. I shouldn't have tried to handle this the Zelda way.
Excuse me?
No, excuse me, princess. Forgive my being so bold, but I need to do things the Link way if I'm going to get this memory and the secrets it holds. That incident from the past took place in the heat of battle with a large beast. Perhaps taking up arms against another will unlock the rest of it.
Link, please reconsider what you're saying. Your mind is in such a fragile state right now. Going into battle is not a good idea.
Perhaps you're right, princess, but right now it's the only way I can feel like I'm making a real effort. If I'm not defending Hyrule to the best of my abilities, I fear the guilt of my previous failings will consume me.
How I wish I could talk you out of this.
Yes, me, puny hero, you big monster, unga bunga, I get the gist of it, let's not waste time. Ah! Ha! Ah! Ha! Ha! No! Heroes fight monsters. Heroes don't fail. Heroes win. You aren't allowed to win! I don't know where to begin with how thankful I am that you followed me out to the desert. If you hadn't intervened, I certainly wouldn't be here right now.
Maybe next time you'll listen to me when I suggest you bring me with you on a mission like this. We've lost entire brigades to Molduga. You're worth too much to our future to be taking on a creature you're not familiar with head-on.
You were pretty fast with those bombs out there.
Guess I had to be with your life on the line. Besides, over the years, you pick up on some survival skills when you call home what everyone else calls a wasteland.
Some champion I'm turning out to be. Hyrule's champion, so they say. Ha! Hyrule's failure seems a much more fitting title.
There's something you should know about failure, Link.
Oh yes, I can't wait to hear this. From failure, you learn that...
No. From failure, you adapt. It's not enough to simply learn out here. The conditions of this region and the instincts of these creatures won't adjust to your favor just because of some lesson you've taken away from before. You've got to be the one to adjust. Step outside your comfort zone. Change yourself and how your tactics operate to fit your surroundings when something doesn't work the first time. They say thousands of years ago, when a great sea still covered these parts, the Molduga was an aquatic species. When the waters dried out and created this desert before us, most migrated out to deeper waters. But some stuck around against better judgment. The remaining few that did slowly evolved and adapted to the harsh, dry sands to become an entirely unique species. Their environment has changed, but at their heart, there's still a creature that lurks their prey beneath a surface that conceals their large size.
I suppose there's something to be said for that kind of stubbornness.
You were born and raised in the grassy hills of a walled kingdom. A lot of places ain't like that. It's something you'll find out the hard way as the official champion of Hyrule, but it'll make you all the stronger when you come out of these scrapes. You'll be unbeatable.
Thank you. Thank you, Urbosa. I truly mean that.
What are champions for?
She puts so much faith into me. Too much, perhaps. I feel no matter how many foes I defeat, there's just going to be dozens more waiting around the corner.
Welcome to the wilds, kid.
I fear there may come a day where it's all too much. The idea of failing her in a way where there's no coming back, why... The mere thought stings more even than the sharpest bokoblin fang. But I mustn't. I must keep fighting for her. Even if it means, well, fighting for the rest of my life.
There's the Link I know. And hey, I don't need to tell her all that happened out there when she awakens. Your secret is safe with me. You can tell her when and if you're ready. Not to sound too boastful, but I know your princess better than most. You'd still be every bit of the hero she knows you are. That I know you are.
Look at that view. You know, I think I prefer it out here when it's more like this.
Yeah, I always did too.
Urbosa! Bombs! Yes! No!
Link! Goodness me, Link, did that come from you? Or did I severely misread the weather forecast today?
My princess! Oh, how great it is to hear your voice in a state of mind that feels one piece closer to being complete. I remember what happened. Not just where I went wrong the first time, but where I need to go right the next time. This time.
I can't believe doing things the Link way actually worked.
Perhaps I needed to do so I could pave the way for handling the big problem the Zelda way. That is, going in headstrong with a surefire plan.
Does that mean you're...
Going back? Yes, I have to.
What was in that memory anyway?
All in good time, princess. All in good time.
You know, just because you repeat something dramatically doesn't make it any less frustrating. Ugh, heroes.
Hoi! Disgusting creatures! Look, typically I don't concern myself with your well-being, but I'm in a sporting mood today. There's a big giant monster in these parts, and you do well to leave the general vicinity to somewhere safe.
Lunch, yeah, lunch. Oh, we can have some lunch. Lunch, yeah, lunch.
Poor devils. Well, I can't say I didn't warn them. Alright, Molduga, you don't like me, and I don't like you. Well, perhaps you'd like me if you knew me on a personal level, but considering you previously tried to kill me, I shall assume you have made up your mind on not liking me. Whereas I never liked you because you are a big, ugly, giant monster, and tragically, I must blow you up into giant, little, tiny chunks. I know that's an oxymoron, but such is life. No, not this time. That's what I call adaptation for a creature infestation. You, my friend, should really watch what you eat.
Well, it certainly seems like you've regained your confidence, for better or worse.
Bombs away!
For worse. Definitely for worse.
It's done.
You did it, Link! You triumphed, you excelled, you desperately need a bath. Desperately need a bath.
Aha! The pungency of heroism is not so easily scrubbed off. The grime of bravery will not so keenly buckle to soapy water, though. If I had to burn these clothes for a lifetime, I certainly wouldn't object.
I suppose you're gonna go stroll into the nearest town to bask in your victory. Given the occasion, I dare say you've earned it.
Perhaps later. There's actually something a little more pressing. It's time you knew what was in that memory. Considering you're involved, I'd say it's a century overdue.
Urbosa. I miss her so much.
As do I. So much I owe her, and nowhere near enough time for me to repay it. I miss all of them.
If I had known that day how close you came to... Oh, Link, I'm so sorry. I know more than anyone what it's like to be under pressure to such a wide extent. To feel like you have to right an entire kingdom's worth of wrongs just because of a position fate threw you into. Even the most modest of defeats.
Feels like a colossal failure, doesn't it?
But look, you overcame it in the end. Just as I knew you would. Thank goodness that past trauma can't haunt you anymore.
I wish it were that easy. It'll always be there, even if it doesn't affect me as strongly anymore. Just like the Molduga, it's still lurking below the surface, but I know how to face it now. I know to adapt.
I can't stop thinking about your words back then. No matter how many foes we defeat, there always seemed to be more waiting for us. We were only kids when that war began. Barely adults, yet thrust into a battle that seemingly never ends. Can this really go on forever, Link? Will we ever get a moment of peace in our lifetime?
Well, we have to hope so, Princess. It gives a meaning behind our efforts if we follow the idea that one day we'll make Hyrule everything it once was. That our people can have a permanent sense of being safe. Least of all, that we can have that as well. To have a normal life for once. But even if it is a battle that carries on forever, there are worse ways to spend a lifetime than one spent side by side with you, my princess.
And I by yours, my hero.
Well, I suppose we can at least rest easy for now with a monster as large as that one out of the way.
I'm not sure we can. The last time a beast like this struck these parts was in the days building up to the rise of Calamity Ganon. These creatures are growing bolder, and I fear they're operating under the guidance of someone. Or something. There may even be factors at play seeping in from far beyond our own world.
If that's true, then my priority needs to be on unlocking any remaining memories from my past. Perhaps even my past lives. There could be secrets just as valuable as the one I remember today. And until I've obtained them, I worry I may not have just what it takes to tackle a challenge like Calamity Ganon once and for all.
You're right. The key to securing our future lies with unlocking our pasts. So, how do we do it?
What we need is a very old friend. Emphasis on the very old.
My ancient ears are burning.